I want to add a player that is at the very bottom of the screen and looks like a ship, so that it's facing up and we can move it left and right to try and avoid the boulders. So we're going to do this in 2 steps. In this video, we'll create the object and give it a graphic. In the next video, we'll add the movement using the mouse and the keyboard. Here I found a cute little ship sprite. You can skip this whole section on paint.net if you saw it last time. But what I'm going to do is I'll right-click and I'll say Save Image As. And now I need to go to the Assets folder inside my project. So I'll find the workspace first. And then I'm going to give it a name that I'll know what it is. I'm going to call it ship.png. And then I'll open it up inside paint.net. Here it is, ship. And I see it. I'm going to go through the same step as last time to give it a transparent background. So I noticed that my tool palette has disappeared. So I'm going to go to View. And there should be a way to get back the tool palette. Ah, I see it. It's here. So this little tool will let you show and hide the tool palette. I'll select the magic wand tool. I'll hit delete. But now I want to crop very closely to the ship. So I'll select the rectangular selection tool. And I'll select just the ship. I'll go to Image, Crop to Selection. Now I'm going to make the image smaller. So I'm going to resize the image. Right now it's 130 pixels by 147. Maybe that's actually an okay size. Well, no, I think I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to resize it to maybe 80 pixels by 85 pixels. About that big. Okay, so now it's already a PNG, so I'm just going to save it. If it's not a PNG, you probably want to save it as a PNG to retain your transparent background. So that looks good. So I'll close that. Now I'm back here in main. I've got a whole bunch of asteroids. I don't want to create another... I don't want to put my player inside the asteroid list, because I want my player to be treated differently than the rest of the asteroids. And I don't need to make an array list of game objects for my player. That doesn't make any sense, because my player is just one game object, not a whole bunch of game objects. So I'm just going to create a single game object variable called player for my player. I have to give it a value inside setup. So here inside setup, I'll say player equals new game object. And now I forget exactly what is the constructor expecting. So let's look at the constructor. Mine expects an x, a y, an x speed, a y speed, a diameter, which doesn't do anything anymore, I think, and a p image. All right, so I'm remembering 5 floats and a p image. So back in main, I'm going to start my character in the center of the screen, most of the way down the screen, 580, or maybe we'll do 540. X speed and Y speed will both be 0. Diameter will make 0 because that doesn't do anything. And now I need a P image. So I'll go ahead and create one here. P image, player image equals load image, and then the name of my file is player.png. Remember, this isn't going to work unless you put it in your assets folder, and if you've added your assets folder as a class folder inside your project. So now I've got a P image, that's a player image, and that's the last input for my game object. Okay, I'm really excited. I'm going to run it. Oh, but wait a minute. Not 2 problems. I don't see my player, and here it says file player.png is missing or inaccessible. So that means it can't find my player. And so I'm going to go check to see what its file is called. Ah, I see inside my Block 5 Extravaganza assets, it's called ship.png. So I just forgot the name of my own file. But you'll find this might happen to you. So ship.png. Let's try it again. Interesting. Well, I don't see an error message, but it's not displaying yet. So that's because we haven't actually told it to display anywhere. All we've done is create a new game object representing the player. But remember, Inside draw is where all the things happen. So we've got to draw our player and update our player. Okay, well, it's probably a mistake to do it inside this loop, because this loop runs, if there are 5 asteroids, it runs 5 times. If there's 10, it runs 10 times. I think about this sort of like as one chunk. This is about updating the asteroids. Like, do all the things with the asteroids. And we want the stuff updating our player to be completely separate from that. So I think I'll update the player first. I'll say player.update and player.draw. And draw, I have to give it my graphics window. Alright, let's run it and see what it looks like. Great, so there's my player. Come to the next video where we'll add movement.